This Forbes article claims, I haven't read this, but the head title of it says that the very obvious reason Disney canceled The Acolyte, it wasn't Toxic Dudes Bros. Now, it claims that it knows the reason why, and I'm going to react to it as I read through this. There has been much gnashing of teeth and rending of garments over the past week of the cancellation of The Acolyte by Disney. The Star Wars series will not live beyond its first season, and it's unclear whether any of the characters or storylines set up in Season 1 will be carried on anywhere else. I do think that the Stranger was a good character, and I'd be happy to see him again in some other capacity. Darth Plagueis was spotted towards the end of the season, and I'd certainly like to see more of him. For those of you who are just listening to this and aren't watching it, this is the article saying this. I do not want Disney adapting anything else with Star Wars. I don't want them doing anything with Darth Plagueis. They've already ruined everything else. They don't need to ruin him further than they already have. But the show itself was not a hit, largely because it was poorly written, riddled with plot holes, and very uneven acting from its various leads, and looked cheap despite its enormous cost. And while some outlets want to paint this cancellation as a win for toxic dude bros in the fandom, as if no woman could possibly have disliked The Acolyte, the others are saying that its failure will cause Disney to avoid trying new things. I think the real culprit is twofold. Alright, let's see what this guy says. The show was far too expensive and did not draw big enough numbers to justify the cost. Excellent observation. It was way too expensive, and there was 0 people watching this. The show was far too expensive and did not receive enough critical acclaim and widespread fan support. Both of these factors include a common theme. The Acolyte simply cost far, far too much, and that investment wasn't met with a huge viewership numbers like The Mandalorian or critically acclaimed like Andor. Over at Reddit, user Jar Jar Jargon has broken down the numbers for each Disney Plus Star Wars show. This is a nice little chart here. I can pause the video if you guys want to read through it some more. But as you can see, Acolyte is at the absolute bottom. Ahsoka, every single series that has come out has been pretty respectively low as it got past Mandalorian Season 1. Mandalorian Season 1 was the most watched and had a $100 million budget. Cost per minute was about $387,647. But you can see the other things like Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Andor, Mandalorian Season 3. It's progressively gone downhill with higher and higher budgets apart from Kenobi, which was only $90 million. The most expensive one on here was $250 million, and that was Andor, and it actually was the best of these shows in terms of its story and plot. But if you guys want to pause that chart, go ahead and do that. This is a really interesting table because it shows us lots of important details about each of these series' success or lack thereof. The Acolyte is the second most expensive show on the list, $180 million after Andor, $250 million. But that's only the total spent. If you look at cost per minute of footage, the Acolyte cost a whopping $671,641 per minute to produce. Andor cost just $529,661, about $150,000 less per minute, thanks to its longer, meatier episodes and 12-episode count. No other Star Wars show received a 12-episode season, and very few episodes across all of Star Wars were as long. As you can see in the chart, Andor runs 2.5 hours longer total than Ahsoka and is not much shorter than the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian combined. And at least with Andor, you can tell where the money went. This is kind of the highlighted portion of this article here. The Acolyte cost far more and performed far worse than any other Disney Plus Star Wars series, and this is why it was canceled. If it had been hugely popular with viewership numbers closer to The Mandalorian than to Andor, it almost certainly would have been renewed. And you know what? That's an accurate assessment. This, I don't want to let people get a big head, right? Like, I didn't have much of a hand in this at all. I've not been as active in reviewing this as I probably could have been. I tried to make a review, but I got copyright struck, so the video was taken down on my YouTube channel. The show got canceled because it's trash. Nobody watched it. It was too expensive, and Disney had to cancel it. There's no logistical reason for keeping this show going. None whatsoever. Does not have a good reason. Disney had to make an executive decision, and they decided to cancel. It was the first good decision they've made since they've gotten Star Wars way, way back when they first purchased it and got the rights from George Lucas. It's the first good decision they've made since then. Everything else they've done has been an absolutely abysmal attempt, apart from maybe Andor, at drudging up some member berries or nostalgia bait in order to get you to go in and watch this stuff. And it's a testament to how awesome and amazing George Lucas's work actually was when you think about it, because it took 10 years for Disney Star Wars to be hated as much as it is after George Lucas's Star Wars was disregarded and hated and torn apart by Disney, only for Disney to absolutely totally desecrate the grave that is Star Wars. George Lucas's creation lives on. Disney Star Wars dies a sickening pitter-patter death where there's nothing and nobody wanting it. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and share this video with your friends. I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week.